And welcome back to Two Wheels. We are talking Jack Miller today. Could he be leaving? Could he stay? Should I stay or should I go? Sorry very much. This is from Moto GP News, and they're saying Jack Miller could now follow Alex Rins's exit out of Yamaha, with they're saying a new deal considered unlikely, which is a massive blow. And yeah, I know he's lately kind of been at the back, maybe more than he should, but this guy, I think, is one of the biggest personalities in Moto GP. And if you want a guy to try those slicks and wet tyres, well, Jack Miller's your man. Jack Miller is the man with, well, he just loves taking risks. So it says here that he's facing huge uncertainty over his future in MotoGP. He's out of contract with Pramac at the end of 2026. That is a fact. He just signed that 1-year deal. It was kind of like an extension, it felt, more than anything else, at the end of 2025. He's been pivotal behind the scenes in developing what is the V4 engine, which at the moment has been a bit of a damp squib. But his results are leaving something to be desired. Having said that, the V4 engine, Miller's results, V4 engine, they are linked. They really are. Yeah, I mean, Jack Miller's gap to the winner Bezzecchi at the Thailand Grand Prix, 47.8 seconds. Yamaha will certainly hope it is the worst, but it could easily be the norm, at least until the Iwata outfit bring their upgraded V4 engine. Yeah. So Miller puts himself in trouble with essentially what is his tyre management. The Pramac rider currently without a point. Even his rookie, albeit the Superbike champion Toprak, has beaten him in all 3 races so far, which is not great, let's be honest. Now, with contracts expiring up and down the grid, with teams already scrabbling to sign their drivers for 2027, he's facing a race against time to secure that future. And it was reported that initially that he was, I think this was within the last week or so, that Miller was actually set to stay at Pramac, but things have now reportedly dramatically changed. And are just as unlikely as Rins, it says here. So Yamaha set to make multiple changes with their rider lineup next year. On Saturday, it was reported that Agora was going to be joining the team. We did a video, and Fabio Quartararo is leaving Yamaha for Honda, which we already knew. And Agora's arrival confirms that Rins is going to be out of the team as well. As for Pramac, Toprak is potentially set to stay. Maybe. But there are also rumours about that. But Miller is under pressure to keep his seat. And we've got, Guevara and Senna are being heavily linked for next season. They're the Moto2 stars being monitored by several manufacturers. And the problem is, when it comes to manufacturers, as you know, in Formula 1 and all kind of sports, they want to get signed up quickly because you don't want to be the manufacturer that misses the next MotoGP sensation. And according to a report from Speedweek, Miller's chances of keeping his seat in the Premier class are now just as unlikely as Rins staying on the grid. Both are faced with leaving MotoGP at the end of the season. Say it isn't so. But, as with all things, there's a tiny bit of hope. This, again, the story from the MotoGP news site about Miller can use the Adelaide Grand Prix as leverage to stay in MotoGP. So, Miller's career is under threat, as we've just spoken about, but the new Adelaide Street Circuit could be what saves him. Pray tell. The Australian rider, just let me unzoom that a bit. Oh my god, there we go. The Australian rider's been under pressure to stay in the Premier class for some time. After, let's be fair, disappointing spell at KTM, Miller was only given a 1 deal at Pramac in Yamaha for 2025, extended again for this year, as we've just been talking about. He's at risk of losing his seat again at Yamaha. A factory seat is off the cards with Jorge Martin Agora signed for 2027. And yeah, and this guy, David Comerford, has said if Quartararo leaves and Toprak moves up, it will alleviate some of the pressure he might end up staying by default. Now, they're linked with Pramac, which we already know, and Miller could follow Rims, as we know. But Adelaide could be the leverage. That's what it says here. Let's get into it. The Australian Grand Prix will leave Phillip Island in 2027. Yeah. And head to an all-new street circuit, Liberty Media. Yes, Liberty Media. I mean, we're going to be doing, I imagine, more than one video about them. Have been pushing to move the race to another part of the country and openly explored the idea of... street courses from MotoGP. Oh, and Liberty Media. I mean, look, this is not F1. Now, the circuit, while it's not been built yet, as received stronger opposition from riders, fans and experts. However, Adelaide could work out perfectly for Miller and his future. Yeah. So as per the report from GP1, the Premier rider can use the race as leverage to stay into MotoGP. The sport needs an Aussie on the grid, for the Australian Grand Prix, and Liberty is keen to have as many nationalities on the grid as possible, not just Spain. It was, although they do have the best riders, pretty much, but it was previously said, and Italy, that Miller's passport would save his MotoGP career in 2027. That could well be true, as the Adelaide circuit could be what keeps him at Pramac next year. Could. And as aforementioned, the 2027 Australian GP has been met with strong criticism, as we know. However, some people have come to the circuit's defence. Benaya says Adelaide is already better than Ballantyne Park, referring to the Hungarian circuit as a parking lot. Oh my God, that's just savage. Miller thinks Adelaide is amazing news for MotoGP. The most have expressed concerns about the principle of a street circuit. Okay, yeah. But yeah, makes perfect sense. Miller could well be saved by his own, his home Grand Prix. I certainly hope we still see Miller in MotoGP simply because he's absolutely awesome. If you made it to the end, though, think about giving us a subscribe. That'd be absolutely amazing. Comment below. Let us know what you think. Will Jack Miller stay in MotoGP? Until then, speak to you soon. Stay safe. Hang on. Thank you.